I love working on cars, motorbikes, trucks, pretty much anything I can get my hands on. There's something about taking on a project, customizing it, and making it your own that I really enjoy the process of. And there's always been one project that I really wanted to tackle, an R32 Skyline GTR. These cars represent what I think is one of the best times in manufacturing history, where technology was good enough to make them lightweight, powerful, handle really well, but it was before they got bigger and heavier and bloated down with all the extra technology. The problem is these cars are getting way too expensive to buy, and I did not see myself getting one anytime soon until a deal came up that I just could not say no to. My name is Benji, and this is the build of my R32 Skyline GTR. So here it is, my new project, the R32 GTR. So excited to dig into this thing, but you can see it needs a lot of work. The body's a little bit banged up, the paint isn't very good. Under the hood, there is nothing because the engine's getting built. Needed a rebuild, and you can kind of just see it's all old and has been sitting for a long time. Needs a bit of a refresh, so gonna be diving into that, taking it all apart. You can see the interior. Also needs a little bit of work, needs some seats. We've got a full cage there, some nitrous bottles that were used to spray the intercooler. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. I'll probably remove the front part of the cage because I don't really need it. Thankfully it never went through the dash, so that's a bonus. But yeah, we're gonna try and clean up the interior as well. I might keep the back half, keep it gutted, I don't know. We'll see what happens. So, time to start pulling this car apart and yeah, giving it a refresh. I think I just screwed myself over because this lug nut snapped right in half and left this chunk still on there, so I can't get the wheel off. So I'm gonna try some heat on the other side and see if I can get the other wheel off, and then we'll have to figure out, maybe I have to drill out the stud to get this one off. Yeah, okay, there we go.
You got them all?
Well, there's only 3 on there. So the reason I was able to get this car in the first place is because I've been sitting for quite a while, which explains why the lug nut didn't want to come off. I took a bit of a gamble on it, not knowing how much work this is going to be to get it all rebuilt and refreshed. So I'm taking it apart one step at a time, and we'll have to look a little bit closer and see what it's all going to take. It took me a few hours just to get that one lug bolt off and get the wheels off. That's all I've been able to do so far. And then on this side, we got a whole mess of wiring that I don't know what the heck is going on here. So yeah, hopefully the rest of this build goes a little bit smoother than taking the wheels off, and time to get the rest of the suspension out. Suspension came out okay. We got it all down here on the ground, both sides. Now I just need to drop the subframe. Subframe is dropped out of the car, and that one's ready to go. I think next thing I might do is drop the rear subframe. I toyed with the idea of just getting this whole front end done and back together before starting on the rear, but I want to powder coat these subframes. So I think I need to get the rear one out and get that all disassembled as well, so I can send them both for powder coat. And yeah, build creep happens way too easily, where you just take everything apart and get way too far into it to the point where it's like such a mission to get it back together. But in this case, I think it's probably best decision to drop the rear end as well, get all of the suspension disassembled, clean it all up, and then put it all back together at the same time. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. This absolutely sucks. Gotta do this again. Turns out there was a total of 5 lug nuts that were just totally frozen to the steel. I guess when you have old aluminum lug nuts that's been sitting for like 5-10 years, the metals just bond to each other and they do not want to come out. So I had 2 on this wheel, 1 on that front wheel, and then 2 over on this side there. I tried heat, I tried PB blaster, letting it sit for a little while. Nothing seemed to work. They just wanted to snap. So yeah, a whole bunch of work to try and get those drilled out. We got them done. Now I got access to the rear subframe, and I'm gonna take all of this stuff apart, drop it down, and then we can clean up that subframe. Take the bolts off. Alright, I think that's coming off. Yeah, it is. Yeah, whole thing. Slow. Yeah. Nothing. We're not missing anything. Hold up. Stop. Lower. Go down. Okay, stop. Okay, there's 2 connectors we need to get right there in the middle. I don't see anything. I think we should be good. That was the only thing I saw. Okay, cool. Let's try this again. Go up. Yeah. All the way. All right. Beautiful. We freaking got it, man. Thank you. Let's go. Look at that. All right, look at this thing under here. Starting to rust a little bit where they welded the cage plates to, but not a big deal. Anyways, rear subframe is out. Now let's drop the transmission. Yeah. So we got the subframe and the transmission both out of the car. I feel like I spent more time taking the wheels off than I did taking apart pretty much all of the suspension on this car. But here we are, we got it all stripped out, and time to start taking all these parts apart because I want to be able to powder coat this subframe and I want to clean everything else up. Having a closer look at this subframe, it's nice that there's some good parts on it. We got HKS coilovers, we got some Nismo upper arms. I'm not sure what these are. They're adjustable, which is nice, so I can set my suspension settings and all of that. We got the Highcast Elite, and then this I believe is the Atessa all-wheel drive system, which I'm not sure the condition of it at all. Looks super dirty. I'm gonna have to take that all apart. So yeah, I'm gonna start taking all this apart, cleaning it all up, and then I think my goal is to probably paint all the suspension arms and powder coat the subframe. So time to strip it all down. So this is the phase where I think to myself, what have I done and how much farther do I go? Because we got absolutely everything taken apart. The only thing I haven't done is taken out that axle because it doesn't seem to want to move. But yeah, it's all in pieces and this entire car is apart, and now it's like a whole mission to clean everything up and put it all back together. And then it's the question of how far do you go? Probably have to get new subframe bushings. I wonder if I take all of this apart and clean it up and redo it all and get new hubs, and this can just escalate forever. So I'm gonna start cleaning all this stuff up and start sandblasting the subframes, and then we'll see what else I do and what other pieces I take apart, but subframes first. I've also got all my bolts here labeled and in bags, so when I need to go put it together, I'm not searching for which bolt matches which piece, so hopefully that will help me on reassembly when I get there. So I picked up this portable sandblaster from Princess Auto, which is like American Harbor Freight, with some recycled glass, and then this one is copper slag. I think this one's a little bit rougher for some steel and heavier stuff, and that one's a little bit finer for aluminum. So about to test this thing out and see how it goes. This was like 150 bucks Canadian, which is like 10 bucks American, so super cheap. Let's try it and see if it works.
Pour some ambience and put it in the track.
I've never done sandblasting before, so I don't have anything to compare this to, but seems to be working okay. For a cheap sandblaster and some cheap materials, this is doing a pretty good job and really taking all this material down. So just a whole bunch more hours to go, and we got this done and the rear subframe done and a whole bunch of stuff done. Okay, I see now why everyone says that is dirty work, because this stuff just gets everywhere and you get sprayed with it and you just get covered everywhere, constantly squinting and gritting your teeth. But yeah, we're making some good progress actually. This is probably about, I don't know, an hour and a half, 2 hours of work, and we got most of this subframe powder coated now. I just got to get kind of like a few areas in between and underneath and some of the detailed work, but making some pretty good progress. So I'm gonna get this one done, pull the rear one out and get that one done. I'm pretty impressed with this little cheap sandblaster actually. It's doing a pretty good job. I'm using, I don't know what this stuff is called, copper slag, and it actually does a pretty good job. And yeah, we're getting through it. Just gotta power through and get it done. I'm gonna reuse most of this stuff actually, so we're gonna sweep it up, and then we got this little mesh guy here, so this will kind of filter it all through, take out most of the big stuff, and yeah, we can send it through again, which is nice. Most of the rear subframe sandblasted now, and I'm gonna go press the bushings out. So I'm using the hydraulic press over at Young Guns here, and tonight we're going to press the bushings out so that I can send off the rear subframe for powder coating. So I'm just here with Robert. Hi, Robert. We found out that the easiest way, we couldn't really get it working on the hydraulic press. So we got one out. What we did was we took a hole saw drill bit and we just drilled out as much of this as we could. And you get the inner part out. Once you have this part out, we take the Sawzall and you kind of just do a cut through this right to the edge. This is part of the bushing here, but if you look from the other side, you just kind of cut right to the edge, make sure not to cut in the subframe, and then we can just take a hammer and a chisel and the rest comes out. so bushings are out of this subframe now, and it's mostly blasted, just a little bit more to do. I got the front subframe over there blasted, and then I've got my parts laid out because I'm going through and I'm kind of just seeing which parts I need to get and replace. I think probably some of the main things is the bearings. This one we kind of fried trying to get that axle out. It was like really fused to this, so we used a lot of heat and an air hammer and had to press that out. So that bearing is toast. This one's very wobbly, and then I'm not too sure about these ones, the condition. They're quite old, but they still seem to move fine. We'll have to get them on the car and see. These are like $130 each US, and the bearing and hub together is like 650 or something like that. Something ridiculous. That's really expensive. GTR taxes are a real thing. I think I'm gonna get new ball joints. I messed up those two trying to remove them, so probably just do both sides. And then these ball joints are really cheap. And one thing I actually want to get is on this subframe, GK Tech sells anti-squat reduction kit, which you weld onto this bracket. So then for this I need some different bushings, so I'll probably replace those in the lower ball joints. So yeah, whole bunch of stuff, parts I gotta order. I put together a little spreadsheet here where I've got my cart full of stuff, and I've just been like mapping out everything that I can to try and get an idea. And man, this stuff adds up super quick. So it's gonna be pricey, but I guess it is what it is when you want to build one of these things. I'm like in that spot where I'm nervous about how much this build is gonna take, how long it's gonna take, how much money it's gonna take, how much work it's gonna be. And like I said, build creep happens so fast where stuff just takes off, and you want to do one thing and then you want to do the next thing, and it's like, how far do you go? Where do you draw the line? So I'm trying to be as resourceful as possible and as simple as possible, and stuff that I can kind of like take apart and unbolt and do later, I will. Just doing like the big main stuff that you only want to do once now. So yeah, trying to order all my parts, get all that stuff ready. I got a little bit more sandblasting ready to go. We'll drop off the subframes for powder coating, and then yeah, can kind of start on powder coating and painting the suspension parts, and then assembling all of that and putting it all back together. So yeah, in all of that process, I'm like super excited about this build. This is one of my dream cars, and I can't believe I get to build one. It's pretty sick, but then at the same time, it's like, what have I started? What have I done? And how much work is this gonna be? I mocked up the car on these work VSKFs just to see what it would look like. These are mats off of his S14 over here. And I don't think it's quite the look that I'm gonna go for, but cool to kind of see how it is. See the wide rear fenders and how that looks with some tires. I probably want more of like a grip setup, I think, with some meatier tires. But yeah, such a sick car. I love these R32s. So anyways, that's all. That's my update. I'm super excited about this build. It's gonna be a lot of work, but also just such an awesome car. So I'm gonna finish sandblasting these subframes. We'll drop them off for powder coating. Oh yeah, I've got to weld on the brackets. So I'm gonna weld on those. I'm gonna weld on the brackets that I get. Once I get those in, we'll finish sandblasting these subframes, set them off for powder coating, and then we can reinstall it all.